These days, current events unfold on a dozen channels. Headlines all seem to be shouting, and good news can be as scarce as a moment to relax. So let's turn down the noise this summer, unplug just a little bit, and head to a shelter from the storms of life. The historic port city of Alpena, located on the sunrise shore of Michigan. Only a few hours drive, but miles away from the weight of the world. Nestled between a vast forest and an endless clear blue bay, where the wonders of nature are as welcoming as the local hospitality. We can explore more than 200 shipwrecks in the largest freshwater sanctuary anywhere. Count the stairs to the top of a lighthouse, or the masts that jut into the harbor sky at moonrise. Let's take a trip to the friendly, picturesque city of Alpena, a haven from the world that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
For your viewing pleasure, this broadcast of the Municipal Council meeting of Alpena is made possible by the funding provided by the City of Alpena. Thank you for your generosity.
Good evening and welcome to the Alpena City Council meeting, June 1st, 2015. Call the order, please.
Johnson?
Here.
Nielsen?
Here.
Nowak?
Here.
Sexton?
Here.
Walagora?
Here. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes of the regular session of May 18th, 2015. Any issues or changes? Any modifications to the agenda this evening? Citizens appearing before council on agenda and non-agenda items are allowed 5 minutes each to address your concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting you're allowed to address council. If you do so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for our records.
Good evening. Tom Woseski, 2238 Emmett Street in Alpena. I'm here on behalf of the Alpena Lions Club. We just want to thank the mayor and the council for their past support and their continuing support for our projects and our endeavors. We really appreciate it, and it makes our job a lot easier. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the consent agenda this evening. A is bills to be allowed in the amount of $156,752.32. B, 3 council reappointments to the Harbor Advisory Committee for a 3-year term expiring June 1st, 2018. Chris McCoy, Steve Speaks, and Ed Rutherford. C is 1 council appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year vacant term expiring October 1st, 2015 is Dennis Bray.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
For one.
Pick.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Nowak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you. No presentations or announcements. I have a Mayoral Proclamation, Alpena Lions Club White Canes Awareness Day. Whereas the Lions Club of Michigan is a service organization dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for all people, especially Michiganders who are blind or visually impaired, and providing opportunities for those individuals to achieve greater independence. And whereas the white cane has become an international symbol identifying individuals who are blind or visually impaired and alerting Michigan drivers to observe caution for the safety of the drivers and blind pedestrians alike. And whereas the Alpena Lions Club was chartered on November 2nd, 1926, and for almost 89 years has served the citizens of Alpena, Michigan by providing white canes, eye examinations, diabetes education, and assistance in obtaining eyeglasses. The Alpena Lions Club also proudly supports Eversight, Michigan, formerly the Michigan Eye Bank, and Leader Dogs for the Blind in Rochester. And whereas the Alpena Lions Club encourages citizens in Alpena to learn more about Michigan's white cane law and to support projects and services that facilitate the independence of blind or visually impaired citizens. And whereas the annual Alpena Lions Club White Cane Awareness Days will be conducted June 12th and 13th, 2015 at various locations in the city. Therefore, I, Matthew J. Wallagora, by the virtue of authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Alpena, do hereby proclaim Friday and Saturday, June 12th and 13th, 2015 as White Cane Awareness Days in the City of Alpena. And tonight we have Pat Minkowski and Tom Washewski from our Lions Club, if they'll come up and thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, report of officers, the IT service contract with Alpena County.
Okay, back in May of 2009, the city and county entered into an agreement in which the county IT department provided primary IT services to the city. The city, through the assistant city engineer Steve Schultz, coordinates all activities involving IT services to the city. He has also served as the city's in-house IT employee in addition to his engineering responsibilities. At the time the agreement initiated, the agreed upon rate for this service was $7,000 per month, which remains the current rate 6 years later. This arrangement has served both governmental units very well for the past 6 years, providing quality and efficient IT services, volume purchasing, and collaboration on a variety of projects, the most recent being the new city IP-based phone system, which the county, I believe, also went to that, and so that was a kind of a shared project. We have had, during those 6 years, a number of projects where we have worked together, which has created efficiencies in terms of staff, but also on purchasing as well, when we're able to purchase equipment together during bidding and things of this sort. The current agreement expired back on December 31st of 2014, and the county forwarded to the city an updated agreement, including a new fee schedule. Initially, they proposed an increase in rates beginning in July of this year. Since we received the new contract after we had completed our budget process, we hadn't adopted the budget, but basically have pretty well set it. We suggested that the payment schedule be changed from the county fiscal year, January through December, to the city fiscal year of July through June, as the costs need to fit in within our budget process. We also asked that the current rate remain in effect through June 2016, as this amount was already budgeted or included in our 2015-16 budget. All increases as shown on the fee schedule on page 1 of the agreement will commence as of July 1st of 2016. The agreement would run for 5.5 years through June 30th of 2020. The county agreed to the modifications, and staff believes the rate increases are justified as after no change for the first 7 years once we get into the increases next year. Most of the other changes discussed and agreed upon between the county IT committee and city staff which was myself, City Engineer Rich Sullinger, and Assistant City Engineer Steve Schultz, were clarifications of the existing language, a new language that put in writing existing operating practices of the two IT staffs. Additionally, 3 new paragraphs were added. Under paragraph 6, county responsibilities, item L states that the county will provide support to the city's new IP-based phone system. Under city responsibilities, in the same paragraph, item L states that the city will be responsible for all camera work except if computer network connection is required. This is the current practice that we're doing anyways. It just was put in writing as part of the agreement. Paragraph 10 is entirely new and defines the roles of both the city and county and any city project that falls outside the normal duties of the county IT department. Once again, this is the standard practice for both staffs, but it had not been specifically included in the document. With the changes made, city staff believes we have a fair, workable arrangement that best serves the needs of both the city and the county. Overall, it's been an excellent example of intergovernmental cooperation and collaboration. The County Board of Commissioners approved the agreement at its May 26th meeting, and staff respectfully request that council also approve it. Once approved, myself, the city clerk, and the assistant city engineer, who's our city IT liaison, and this was the signees that the county put into the agreement, so it's that they asked the individuals to sign. We'll sign both copies and then forward it to the county for signature. I may also add that the county has 3 full-time IT staff now, which means as Steve said, he's about third of his time. So you got 3 1/3, so we basically are getting, 1 2/3 people. If we were to do this on our own, it would require at least 2 full-time people for us to handle our IT. So it is a bargain in that sense, just on the staffing level, let alone on the other savings that we do have. So as of now, it has been working, and we would recommend that we extend the contract. And if you have any technical or specific questions, Steve is here, and probably can answer them better than anybody.
Greg, it's pretty safe to say that this relationship's been pretty positive since we started, right?
Yes, and as county has changed their staff, I think it's even gotten better with some, I think nothing against the people who were there before, but the role has kind of changed, the roles of both. And so when they came in, it was working, they were right there at the beginning of how our roles were going to be between the city and the county as they were evolving, and that actually has made it work very well. We have monthly IT meetings that we hold here with the county staff, and those are very productive and beneficial to both staffs as we talk about where we are on existing projects, current ones, and then future ones that will be coming up. So that's worked very well.
I just have one question. We mentioned Steve by name in the contract. Over the next few years,
Yeah.
what if that were to change?
Yeah, isn't that next on the agenda somewhere?
Well, they may know something I don't, Steve, so, but,
I'm just
no, it's going to be whoever our IT person would be at the time. I mean,
Safe to say that they requested him because of his position as IT.
Right, and they put his name in there. We didn't ask that the name itself, that the position be,
Okay.
I mean, it could be, but I think both sides know everybody well enough that, if something unfortunate were to happen.
Or fortunate, I mean, he could.
Or fortunate if you move on to something better.
It's a promotion,
Hey,
he'll be promoted.
Yes, he is heading to Europe. Maybe he'll find a nice job over there. I don't know, and work for IT.
Oops, he's
in
coming.
Europe. Uh-oh, he's here to deny all these.
You can only make it worse, Steve.
Just thinking about it is the whole reason that I came into this wasn't because I was assistant city engineer, it was because I had an interest and a knowledge in IT. Now, if something were to happen and I left the position, the next assistant city engineer may or may not have that type of knowledge or interest, so it may move on to somebody else, like Rick.
Or Adam, or whatever.
Oh, great. I think we're fortunate to have Steve.
Thanks.
We got somebody that's IT qualified. It's a great collaboration with the county. I thought it was really, I think we should really appreciate the fact that the county did agree to defer the increase in rates until we can get it into our budget. That shows that they're not just, that they're as concerned about our budget as we are. So, you know, it's nothing but a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
I move we approve the new city-county IT service agreement as presented.
Second.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
I did.
Is there anything I need to know before I start?
Okay, next up, bids.
I can't have a whole new engineering firm.
Right, yeah. First one and only one being Public Safety HVAC Upgrades Phase 2.
On May 21st, the city received and opened bids for the public safety HVAC upgrades Phase 2. Last year, as council may remember, we replaced the boilers in the public safety facility. And this was the next phase of it, was to go into the air conditioning, air handling component of it. So this project includes the acquisition and installation of 2 new chiller units, refrigerant and cooling piping, air handling ductwork, refrigerant pumps, and electrical work. These will replace the 2 original cooling units installed when the building was built in the early 1990s. The cooling system has been problematic for the past few years and has required a significant investment to maintain it and keep it functioning. Recommendations from local contractors performing this work supported the need to replace and upgrade the cooling system for the building. Bids received for this work are as follows. Weiss Heating and Cooling out of West Branch, Michigan, $110,248.40. Weinkauf Plumbing and Heating out of Alpena, $115,542. Bids received were sent to AKT Peerless, the subcontractor who assisted the city in developing the bid documents for their review. Based on their review and the pre-bid walkthrough with these 2 contractors, they have recommended utilizing the services of Weiss Heating and Cooling out of West Branch, Michigan. Based on our review of the purchasing policy, the local bidder's preference does not apply, as the second low bidder, being local, exceeds the threshold for consideration. Funding for this project will need to be utilized from the Public Safety Construction Fund, which was established when the building was built, to address the replacements and upgrades such as this as these systems deteriorated.
Easy.
The line item is listed there. It's my recommendation to city engineer to award the public safety HVAC upgrades Phase 2 to Weiss Heating and Cooling in the amount of $110,248.40. This will reduce the principal, and per the policy established for this account, we need city council authorization to proceed and use this funding. This project is not a budgeted project because this is coming out of that special fund. We were only going to take out exactly what we need for the project. And we knew we had to come to city council anyway to get your authorization to basically spend down the principal. Originally that fund was set up, and I believe there was originally somewhere just over $300,000 in it. It was set up so that we would use the interest that was earned on it for these improvements. Well, that worked great for a couple of years, and then the interest rates kind of tanked, and we're not really generating much interest revenue on that. But this is exactly the type of projects that those funds were set up for. And we did the same thing with the DPW facility when we built that. We have this contingency pot of money so that as building systems fail in the future, we can come back, have the funding to replace them without hitting the general fund. Now, eventually, you know, it may be a situation where we use all these funds, and then we have to rely on general funds, but we're going to try to stretch these as far as we can. There is potentially another phase to this that we're looking at, and that is the control system for the building. We're not sure yet if we want to proceed with that. We're looking at what the pricing may be for that to see if it's something we do want to pursue. But these two systems, the boilers that we put in and this HVAC system, can operate independent of that control system being implemented. So we can, if we just do these two, we can sit for a while, or if we want to proceed on, we can. But right now, we're just asking to proceed with the HVAC upgrades.
Is there a current revenue funding for that account, or is that was like primarily a one-time deal?
Basically a pot of money that sits there and earns a little bit of interest. We have tapped into it in the past. When we did the boilers, we had to use those funds. And again, when we're doing these HVAC, we'll have to get into the principal on these funds.
Is there a mechanism for replacing a portion or all of the funds that you've tapped?
Well, we're thinking about, Joel, maybe selling candy bars out of these cars if we can, but not really.
So
that was money that was left over from the construction, was put in that fund. Other than the little bit of interest that we garner off from those investments, there's no revenue source for that.
Okay.
We were able to keep that fund solvent for, and it still is, but for, I don't know, 10 or more years, yeah.
How many?
At least 15 years.
Wow.
And we're earning interest, and it was doing really well. And then, of course, we used it for what it is meant to use for. The annex building we did some improvements to, and I think some of the non-slip flooring we did, and
I was hopeful that you knew of a secret pot of money that would replenish your fund.
We have the same fund for the DPW, again, with leftover money from when we did the construction, but we know as long as interest rates stay the way they are, at some point when something major has to be done, it's going to involve taking the principal as well as whatever interest we have. And depending upon what it is, it could deplete that as well. But it helps it in the meantime where we don't have to use the general fund.
And like you said, that's what these funds were meant for. Karen, where about does that leave this?
I think over 100,000 we'll still have left, maybe even 150,000.
Maybe one more big project.
Yeah, and the roof is a
that's coming down the pipe.
That's a struggle, yeah. And so we're trying to just repair for right now, and that'll be the next thing.
And there's some transitions going on. Mike Kalashevsky is going to be taking over as far as primary maintenance contact on these buildings, and it's worked out very well. And Mike and I, this project was started before Mike came into that responsibility, but we've worked together on this, and we've kind of been transitioning as we go through it. And we're going to be there to continue to support Mike in bid documents, et cetera, as we move forward. But it's really been working out well with that transition.
Yeah. What on the system? I usually ask this system. What is the expected lifetime normally on these types of systems?
The other system it was like I said, it was done. I must say the early '90s, '92, '93 was when that system was installed. So we've gotten about 23 years out of it. I would anticipate, and usually it's about a 20-year life that you could expect. So we've achieved our life expectancy on that original equipment.
And I noticed that we just had 2 bidders on this particular project, and I'm wondering, is it because of the scope of work? Is it because of the timeline in which the work was to be completed?
You know, I wish I had that crystal ball to be able to say why. Quite frankly, I was surprised we got 2 bids. At the pre-bid walkthrough, Weiss indicated they probably weren't going to bid. Their justification being the local bidder's preference. They were concerned about being competitive and investing the time to put that bid together, and then potentially have it taken away if they were within that threshold for the local bidder's preference. And I think it was some arm twisting by AKT Peerless to get them to bid.
you know, it could be the timeline, it could be the scope of work that is involved there. You know, it's going to be a lot of labor involved in getting in there, getting the piping out, doing the changeover. So it may be that the other contractors, and I know a lot of the mechanical contractors are booked right solid right now.
Mike, that is correct. I did speak to a couple of the contractors, and some of it was related to the timeline that the contract needed to be completed by, and some of it was they're just full of work right now. We've planed off, and the workload has increased in the Alpena area, so some of them were just too busy to even bid it.
Did they have any concerns with our timeline? I mean, it doesn't make sense for future projects, Mike, to maybe extend that timeline a little bit. I know we want to have a start and completion date always, but I'm just wondering if that would maybe increase some bidding on some future projects.
The other larger company here in town had expressed interest, or didn't express interest in it because of the fact that they are booked up, and they're leaning more towards a little bit more light commercial, and they've been doing real well with the residential, and so they prefer to stay right where they're at. The other ones just didn't have the manpower to necessarily complete the project. By extending the timeline, we haven't really talked about that. The biggest concern is because it's the HVAC and the air conditioning. You know, there are quarters there that are occupied 24/7, and the comfort level was a big concern trying to get this project pushed forward.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anybody else? Anything else? Other than to possibly entertain the acceptance of the bid?
I move we approve contract with Weiss Heating and Cooling in the amount of $110,248.40.
Second.
Okay, and we also want to make sure that we authorize the use of the principal to purchase that. Okay.
Yes.
Could I put that in? Yeah.
Please do.
If you were listening,
Read my
you
mind.
were going to say that.
Sexton?
No.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Okay, next up, communications and petitions. First on deck is Alpena Blues Week. Request for noise variance from 10 p.m. on June 20th, 2015 to 3 a.m. on June 21st, 2015. I'm sure someone's going to address some details about that. Changed a little bit.
Randy came in today, I think, or last week, and spoke a little bit with Julie, and kind of it was a little bit more clear that he really only wants it till midnight, the noise ordinance. A lot of times they'll move inside after midnight, so that's all he's looking for.
Okay, just a standard noise variance.
And he said he's sorry he couldn't be here tonight, but
I think they always move inside.
they have been doing that.
Yeah, he said that's the standard. After midnight, they've gone inside, and as far as I know, we've never received any complaints as far as noise or anything. Police or Joel, you've never received any as far as noise complaints?
No, sir, nothing.
On there. So obviously, being in the building they go into, which I can't remember the name of, the Merchants, is that it retains, you know, whatever sound pretty much inside.
So just your standard noise variance that would ordinarily be on the consent agenda?
Yeah.
We're correct, yep.
I move we approve the request for noise variance.
Second. Doesn't matter.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Okay, next up, Alpena Peace Coalition request to place a peace pole on the City Hall property. Duffy Gorski here this evening.
I'm Duffy Gorski, 746 State Avenue, Alpena, Michigan. I'm here representing the Alpena Peace Coalition. I'm here to request permission for the Alpena Peace Coalition to place a peace pole on the City Hall property. The peace pole is an international recognized symbol of the hopes and dreams of the entire human family, meant to be standing vigil and silent prayer for peace on earth. Written on the peace pole will be words that say, "May peace prevail on earth," placed vertically on each side for different appropriate languages, with one being English. In other words, we can determine what languages we want on the pole. It's a four-sided pole. Knowing that peace begins in the hearts and minds of each person, we trust this peace pole will stand as a constant reminder of the necessity to wish for, pray for, work for, and live in a spirit of world peace at all times. Peace poles symbolize the oneness of humanity and all people's common wish for a world at peace. They remind us to think, speak, and act in a spirit of peace and harmony. A little history. The modern peace pole program started over 50 years ago in Japan. However, throughout history, peace monuments have been created, with some found dating back as far as 600 BC. The peace pole project was first introduced in the United States with the opening of the World Peace Prayer Society in 1986, the International Year of Peace. Today, peace poles are the most recognized international symbol of peace. There are over 300,000 peace poles planted in over 180 different countries around the world. Peace poles are not meant to be a protest against any war. They are meant to as a constant reminder that peace is a common, instinctive, innermost desire of all people for inner peace, family peace, community peace, and national and worldwide peace. We would like to place the pole in the front of the City Hall building at a mutually agreed upon place. The peace pole is a 4x4-inch pole that stands about 6 feet tall. It has I'm not sure if it's ceramic, but white plates on each side with the language repeating that peace slogan. With your consent, a peace pole on the Alpena City Hall property, we would like to have a dedication ceremony on September 11th, the first day of the annual launch of our 30 Days of Peace.
Duffy, where else are they in the city of Alpena? I've
One
seen
at
them.
St. Anne's, there's one at,
There's at 6 different churches
All in
in
Alpena?
the city. And then the junior high school has one, and the Rotary Club put 2 on what they
That's
call
where I saw
Rotary
it.
Island.
Okay.
They're not bad looking poles.
No.
No, that's nice. Okay.
I think you've got pictures of them.
We do.
I bought some.
Yeah, we have some in our packets. I have no issue with it whatsoever. I'm an obvious supporter of the Peace Coalition and the 30 Days of Peace, and I think the peace pole would be a nice addition.
I have one issue. I'm all for peace. I'm all for the peace poles. My issue is if we set precedent on setting something on City Hall property where we can't say no to the next person who comes.
I guess I would.
Put it there, you have to say
And I thought
yes.
that would come up. I guess my take on that, I don't know what Bill's take is on it in a legal standpoint, but my position would be that I reserve the right to say no every time I vote, sitting in this chair. As far as peace goes, we already have the alternative to that, which is a cannon off of a battleship. So I guess I kind of see the majority of the things that we do as potentially setting a precedent. But if in the event an alternative someone were to approach us with an alternative, we 5 pretty much still can vote no on any particular. I don't think we always vote on what has been precedent.
Well, my point is if we allowed this, then you can't say no to any other request that comes. You can't because you open yourself up for a lawsuit and you're going to lose it. If we say yes to this, we have to say yes to every request that comes before us. I would like a legal opinion on that.
Yeah,
definitely. That's fine. Bill?
It's your time to shine.
Put me on the spot here.
And again, before you respond, I guess if you need more time, this doesn't have to be a decision we have to make this evening.
Yeah, I can give you a general opinion in this regard. I would think, first of all, Cindy's right. Once you set a precedent, you know, it's a slippery slope. Once you let one person do it, or one organization do it, it becomes more difficult to turn a second or third or fourth organization down. But I think Matt's right as well, that you sit and vote on each one individually. And to me, this peace poll does not strike me as being political in nature. When things are political in nature, shouldn't do it. And I guess the easiest example I could give is if the Republicans wanted to put a poll out there that said vote Republican, we shouldn't be doing that. I mean, it looks like we're supporting the Republican. And if we put a vote Republican poll up, there's no way we can stop the vote Democrat poll from going up right next to it. So, you know, things that are political in nature are not things that municipalities should be supporting. I don't see this particular request as being political in nature. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue with world peace. So we also, though, if you approve this one and it became an issue down the line, you could always withdraw your approval or reconsider your approval if other requests came forward and the argument was you got to let us do it because you let them do it. But if you want a formal legal opinion, I'd have to do some research. And I mean, anything political in nature, yes. I don't see this as being political in nature.
And I guess I'll support it and just have the faith in the community that we're not going to get some radical issues that we'll have to deal with.
I got a big Ohio State poll, Ohio State flag on it.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
That cannon out there represents our country fighting for peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a peace poll alongside it would indicate what they fought for.
Appreciate that.
I guess it's up to you whether you're comfortable or you want Bill to have a
I just
legal
think
or
to cover
formal
our
opinion.
bases, we should get a legal opinion and table it and then come back to it. I'm not saying that's going to change anyone's vote. I would just like to know that that what we're doing is legally right to do. Not, because I support this. I just don't want to have to say yes to every one who comes and asks for something because I did it.
You okay with that, Bill? Something you could put together?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
We just need a motion to table.
So I make a motion, we table.
Second.
Real quick, and what kind of timeline are you looking at?
Well,
September.
obviously sometime before September 11th.
At least before that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take but 45 minutes to an hour for us to plan it. And when we plan it, we put it in concrete so that there's a rim around the pole so that when you're doing lawn, they don't have to use a weed whacker around it. The mower can get to the edge of, without touching the pole, they can trim the grass around that concrete.
What about the timeline for preparing it? You already have it? I mean,
we don't have.
It's about 2 months to order.
2 months, and this is June?
They have to make, we have to ship all, they make them and bring them in.
You expect to be able to turn that around by next meeting, you think, or do you want some?
If we need it, yes. If that's the timeline.
Also, we would, Carol and I, we would agree that if this did come into any kind of conflict, we would remove it and find another place for it.
Okay.
So we're willing to do that. That's, came up, and I understand, we don't want it to get buried with everything else, you know. So.
Yeah, if you think you can put something together for
Okay.
one of our July meetings. Or no, we have another June meeting.
June 15th.
June
June
15th.
15th or
Okay.
July 1st, the latest, probably.
Thank you.
I mean, unless you have already, I guess, just in anticipation that this would work out, you may want to get with Building and Grounds or Greg or whoever to
I think, well, they've already talked, I think, with Rich, haven't they, about the location and whatnot.
Okay,
So
so
that's
all
not
the
really an
preliminary stuff is worked out.
One One
the
last
most
thing,
part.
did we work out languages?
No, that's,
What we're thinking of for languages, like all the other places have all the local, languages on right now, all the other peace that are in the city. So we're trying to research with the library on who were the very first settlers. Who were the very first, in other words, our city's roots is what, and we would use those nationalities, including the Chippewa Indians who were here at that time too. And so it would be, and we would need, when we have the ceremony, to have someone explain, the nationalities and why at that time. But we're still researching exactly what nationalities there would be there. Okay?
Cool.
Very good, sir.
Thank you.
Motion and a second.
Got a motion and a second.
Yeah, Noah. There's a second. Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye. Thank you very much. That's all I got.
I'll move we adjourn to closed session.
Second.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
You are watching All About Alpena.